It's like it seems that the Stellar Blade drama is never ending. People are going absurd and focusing way too much on just a woman's body. Like, why do they even care that much? I don't understand why it's getting so out of the control, and it's still a topic, but I want to see what's been happening.
Guys, we're here. So today we have some more topics to cover involving the ongoing Gamergate situation, beginning with more outrage surrounding the main character of the upcoming game, Stellar Blade. Because a lot of game journalists and Twitter users are very upset about the attractive design of this main protagonist. Now today we're going to go over several updates regarding this set of outrage, including claims that this character is not attractive at all, and some other conflicting claims that this character is so attractive that it's going to lead to real-life instances of violence against women. Yes.
This is so absurd. I do wonder, like, because clearly I'm a dude, right? But I do think a little bit that this must be so exhausting for any like any women or anyone like women had like being on the like on Twitter or in gaming, to always have this focus on like female bodies so much and having this conflict of arguments constantly spiraling around every single week. It must be just so tiresome to listen to, because this is like this doesn't have to be this complicated, but we're turning it complicated. This is reaching so hard. It's insane. It's actually insane how far they're stretching this, because like why would you even think that it will escalate to this sort of manner, and why would this be such a big of an issue for people? Like, there have been hot women in video games for so long, just like there's hot men in video games for so long. Like, why is this a topic? And on top of this, this is like a scan of a real woman. That's just her body. Just because she's like thin clothing on her doesn't mean change anything.
I wish I was joking. A lot of people are seeing this character and some of the smooth designs that is featuring, and they're thinking to extremes like that. Now, of course,
I think that people that are thinking that is like mentioning this to be going to an extreme, or saying that we're gonna cause violence on the street because of this model, I can bet you, like, I could bet that these people don't leave their house. I can bet those people don't even like haven't talked to a woman in like probably a couple years. And if they are a woman, I bet they haven't talked to like 10 people in like probably, I don't know, the last 3 weeks. I'm gonna be real.
Journalists have been very upset about this situation, and as the demo has been
Attention
reaching
anymore?
very high levels of success since its release.
The thing is that I don't even like the thing is that these people often don't stand by the cause they are going like talking about. They don't really actually care. I think they only care about attention, and that's why it's getting so far.
Games journalists have come out with articles like this from yesterday, complaining on the one hand that most fans are sold on Stellar Blade.
That was another problem in the world, but you pick something that doesn't matter. Yeah, I know, right?
Also claiming
There's like
that a lot
wars
of
going
users are
on, and
upset
inflation, and housing,
the developers
and
made this character
jobs,
sexualized.
yada yada yada.
They can't even get their
But
story
we're talking
straight.
about this.
Now, when they say users are upset, they mainly mean other
Call
members of the
daddy.
industry, like senior editor from Kotaku here, Alyssa, and Khalif, who had an epic collab on this episode of whatever it is that they're doing, where they would speak directly about this main protagonist of Stellar Blade and how he thinks that she is not even attractive in the first place.
The bastion of conservative gaming, the bastion of keeping the wokes mad, is Stellar Blade right now. Stellar Blade is the game of the year because there's a shiny titty and a almost a medium ass. It's not even a great ass. It's a medium ass. It's not even that big.
It is a medium ass.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is
Okay,
the year
so now
20
you're like doing the thing y'all fighting about, like you're focusing on objectifying this design and like that woman itself, and just focusing on like targeting it and degrading it, like just saying that this is bad, this is blah blah blah. Like overall, like if you're gonna look at the body of the Stellar Blade model and be like, oh my god, she's so beautiful, her body is insane, the standards on that body, like I'm wondering, like I don't know, man. I look at like people in like where I live and stuff like that. I don't think it's that crazy at all. I feel like this is pretty normal. Her like body just generally is pretty normal in my view. So I don't see why people are getting so crazy about this. They should fly to South Korea. Like I just think that people that have this view about like how people look, and I think that everybody, there's no diversity, or a lot of people don't even try to stay fit in some sort of way. If like majority of people don't try to stay fit, I think they gotta go like look at people out like other places, because maybe it's just their area they're in that people don't tend to stay fit.
24, and apparently it is conservative to find the character Eve from Stellar Blade attractive. Basically, that's
Damn.
their general approach. If you disagree with them or have a different taste in fictional characters, you must be some kind of a conservative or a bigot. But moving forward from
God.
that, there's also comments that he made
And
about
that's the thing I feel like with the like people that say these things, is that they can only insult people. They can never make a proper argument. They can only be like, it's either you or them. It's either me or them. That's how it feels like.
design of Eve, calling it lacking in many regards in terms of its physical appearance, which not only do I think is extreme levels of cope, I also think it's a bit insulting, especially given the fact that this character, Eve, is based on a 3D scan of a real-life human being. So you're also making comments about the person that this character is based on. But in general, these people have an issue with attractive female video game character designs. That much is obvious. Every single one of these characters included on this holy trinity has been criticized or belittled because of their physical appearance and their attractiveness.
I could say that, like, you could probably say that everybody that says this have probably looked themselves in the mirror and been jealous of the way that these people, like these characters look. That's probably it. Like, video games are not real. I know that's a crazy fucking thing to think about. Even though the visual standards of these women are like, they are beauty standards, they're fit women that look good, that have this unique like clothing style that really looks good on them. I mean, even if that's the case, it's not really something that doesn't exist. Like, these girls could just be like, some of them look kind of normal in many ways, just that their clothing is very revealing or very specific, like special. I think that most people that are getting really mad about this or insult their appearance, really, they're probably just a little bit insecure about their own appearance.
Because apparently people can't enjoy the attractive model while also enjoying the character in the story that surrounds them. But here's a good point made in the quote retweets, this user saying, yeah, or maybe there are dudes who don't look at every chick as a sex object and just like the game for being a fun action/adventure game. Are we going to do this with every game that has a female lead who is attractive now? And that's the
thing, like the game, there are porn games. Like, you can watch porn. You can go play a game that is focused on porn. This game is focused on having just like good gameplay with an attractive lead female character. Like, it's not really that big of a deal.
The irony of all these related situations, users like this push over and over again, we need more female representation in video games. And here you have
and then they push it away.
Protagonist of a major upcoming release, and it's immediately denigrated by people like this and reduced to nothing more than a sex object in their eyes, because that's what they believe is the only reason why people would care about the game, when people care about a lot more than just the design. They care about the story and the character as well. But
exactly.
In their eyes, that's all they're worth. In fact, they even go as far as to belittle the appearance of this character. But moving forward, here's some replies saying, yeah, that didn't happen in the past, right? Where they're showing dozens of comments of people freaking out over the design of 2B, going feral over this character design when it was released because a lot of people found it very attractive. Where Khalif would reply with this, saying, this kind of proves my point that y'all are weird. Interesting. Well, I looked at this guy's account, and literally this was one of the most recent tweets from 2 hours ago saying, Gonna be open on the timeline today. My feelings have been hurt by all the mean people calling me fat. Yeah, you called me fat. Look at you, you're skinny. And I don't know if this is a reference to something, but they break out into some rhymes here saying, it never stopped me from getting busy. I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. Yes, but you're the one calling people weirdos over being attracted to video game characters. Now, again, I don't know if this is some kind of irony, but bragging about getting busy in a dirty fast food bathroom is not the flex.
I mean, I do think people were talking about it a little bit about Yennefer and Siri as well, to be honest. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I said it at the start of this video. I do feel really bad. Like, I don't really, I think it is a very big shame, more like it, that there are always this focus on like how a woman should look, like all the time, and even video games, whenever you're trying to escape reality and real life problems, whenever you're looking at a video games, and then you see all of the women that are playing video games have to deal with the focus, constant talk and narration about their bodies all the time. Like, they probably just want to play a good game and chill out and have fun, not have all of this bullshit talk 24/7. Like, it's probably exhausting.
You think it is? Those bathrooms are occupied by people doing some nasty things in the Burger King bathroom.
These people are just mentally ill, nothing else. Yeah, I think so too.
Place to shoot up. Okay, that's not exactly
I think Corona
the best spot.
hurt a lot of people.
Not something you want to brag about. But moving forward, there's a lot more outrage about this design of Eve, and it goes way beyond just journalists. You have users like this saying, was Nier Automata's released like this, where everyone was like, heh, take that, nerds, this one is for the straights. I feel like most people were chill and just played the game, which was both sexy and fun and cleverly written. Where people will point out,
I personally think that fashion, when it comes to video games, like, I think whenever you look at video game characters, I think about like cosplay often in many sort of ways. And I think that video game characters, regardless of sexually revealing or not, what I care most about is the fact that the character has a cool design. Like, is the fashion on the character like really good? Is it something that looks really cool, worth for artists to write, like make art of, and people to cosplay of? Is it like so cool that it kind of just says it as this character, you know? And often whenever you're trying to create something that is like fashionable, you need to kind of have like an attractive character. But at the same time, you don't always have to do it. It's just a factor of, in many ways, I think that this is like, this is more about what is fitting for the world you're creating right now. You couldn't, like, this girl here in Stellar Blade, for example, is a woman that jumps around, drop kicks, like does backflips. She does a lot of activities, right? No wonder she's fit, right? So she fits the role. That's just the whole thing. But I think that overall, like, for me, it doesn't really matter when it comes to like the design of a girl. But I do want to say that I'm also a little bit of a hypocrite in some sort of way with the case of men, because I don't judge any male character, but I would always prefer that the men in video games were like Berserk, were like Mr. Olympia. Like, I think that is cool. And that is a body type that is barely achievable without taking steroids and having really good genes. Like, and some of them that is not even possible, you know, like the ideas I have. And I think that video games should not have realism to them often. I think that often whenever you see games, you shouldn't really think that, oh my God, I want to look exactly like this. I think you just want to see a cool character and you want to see a cool fashion design on that character. And as much as these designs and the body type of them can inspire you maybe to change your life, because like I've seen a lot on TikTok and stuff like that of young men wanting to work the fuck out to look like Toji from Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, there's the whole trend, and the same with JoJo. Like, a lot of people are working out just because of these fictional characters. And I think that is like having, like, that is a bonus in that sort of sense. But often I don't think like character design should really focus too much on realism in many ways. I do want to say though that in many ways, I think it's just, I just think that games should not really focus too much about like what is real and what is not. If you look at all designs of RPGs and video games, you saw like this skimpy, skinny girl with male breastplates and barely any clothes, and then you saw this fucking dude that looks like from a dude, the Conan the Barbarian, big Mr. Olympia with just a leather like pouch on his crotch, and that's it. And often like video gamers just want to have the absurd, unrealistic stuff because it's different, and that's what really entertains.
Like this, that the narrative over time has changed greatly. So they say this: if you make a search for sexism and Nier Automata, you can see in real time
beards
the process
to return on main
narrative
characters.
Switch.
I agree. There's
Articles
barely any
and
beards.
Threads from the era.
Also, like a completely out of the blue thing, I've said that. Have you noticed how beastmen are barely anymore in video games? Have you noticed that are never any like wolf monsters or centaurs and stuff like that? Just generally, beastmen are nearly extinct from video games. And I think that's because of furries. I think because of the furry stuff, like people have stopped adding them because they feel like sexualized, like they are being sexualized, or people are just focusing on sex all the time, or people have bad gimmick because of furries. And I think that's a shame, because I think like a monster, like a big fucking monster, is cool to have. I think there are cool monsters, and they're like such a classic RPG trope, but they're kind of, it's extinct in gaming genre because of like the way people persuade them.
At least are full on
them.
This is sexist and gross, and when you reach 2021 or so,
Yeah, I don't know if to make myself either.
People shift to a different narrative where they say it isn't sexualized, and you can see by the title of these various threads and articles,
people don't want to associate with furries.
people complaining
that's true as well.
historically about how overly sexualized this character is and how it's sexism and it's too much, and then over time, well, maybe it's not so sexualized and it's just people projecting. That was the narrative. It definitely started that way and has shifted over time, but we're seeing Stellar Blade begin with that outrage generally from journalists and threads where they're claiming that the character is overly sexualized. And you can go right back to the creator of Nier Automata right from the get-go here, asked the question, why does a combat android have heels? Where he would reply saying, but the biggest reason is, I just really like girls.
Also, it's badass. Have you tried running in heels? Like, just like if you're a man, have you ever put on heels? Like, I put on heels once. I couldn't stand. I could dude. If you see a woman that can run in heels, she is used to running in them. And if you see a video game character that can fight in heels, that is cool. Like, heels are hot. That's just. It's just the truth. They're like the hottest kind of shoes that exist for women. So whenever you see like this badass looking girl fighting in heels, beating people up, that's just cool.
In this thread right here on Twitter, they were complaining about getting too much sexy fan art of 2B's butt and was asking people to basically make a zip format for him to more easily collect all of these images of 2B's butt. Now, moving forward, people would shift from Nier to Bayonetta with a tweet like
also, you need to keep in mind, like, if 2B's model is so unrealistic, why is it the most and the biggest thing, the most popular cosplay that exists to this day? People, if you go to any con, you will see a bunch of women cosplaying 2B, and they all look great. There's a reason for that. It's because, like, honestly, it's not that insane of a body image in itself. And to be fair, 2B didn't become popular because of her ass. She became popular because her outfit, her fashion design is good looking as hell. It's super cool. People love that shit.
saying, after seeing all of this politically correct gamers
Us cosplay look like
Eve's
2B. Yeah,
looks,
right.
I do wonder.
And the
where
game was
all
good.
these
I've never played it, but I heard it was really good. I gotta play it one day.
when
I really gotta play it one day.
Launched. Imagine the meltdown if Eve
Hi, Pax.
had
How
a
you doing,
dance
buddy?
scene like this. I believe you mofos just selective of the stuff you want to be offended by.
Yeah, you
I had to
true
really
drag.
help them out with the grammar there. It was quite the struggle. But people would point out, Anita Sarkeesian literally made half a video talking about Bayonetta. They were pissed off and performative about her. I vividly remember it. The actually Bayonetta is for the gays is a pretty recent development that happened with Bayonetta 3 and was destroyed by a postcard. Now, everything this user is saying is correct. You can see back many years ago at the beginning of the original Gamergate, you had the feminist frequency through Anita Sarkeesian making this video, a damn near full-length film complaining about various characters, female characters that they believed were being hypersexualized. And one of the characters they spent the most time on was Bayonetta, where they made many claims about this character, including the claim that this character was hypersexualized for the male gaze.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Bayonetta is like, the gay people love Bayonetta so much. Her personality, her act, just generally the whole idea of her. Like, Bayonetta in this picture is essentially naked. You know what her clothes are made of? It's her hair. She's like a hair witch or something like that. And she just uses her hair to make all of her outfits. And like, I don't know, like the factor of changing your outfit on the whim with your beautiful long hair. I don't know, like, how can you ever get any better? It's magic lingerie armor. I mean, it's hair in the end of the day, right? So like, yeah, her hair is filled with magic, so it is the most protective thing she can do.
About the game, she's a single mother.
Single mother.
And
is she? Wow.
That's kind of it.
That's it.
On to the negatives. She carries with her 4 pistols, 2 of which are strapped to her high-heeled boots, which provide the perfect opportunity for her to control her
What she's
body
saying.
into pornographic poses, including
What's this
spreading
video
her
slow?
legs and doing a little flip in the air to kill the bad guys.
Nice.
When she lands, she does a little sexy pose for the player, complete with the sound of a camera shutter snapping. But it gets even better, because one of her most powerful weapons involves her stripping all her clothes off and turning her hair into an evil demon weapon fighting machine. Did you get that? The whole taking all her clothes off in order to use her hair as a weapon? Because clearly you can't use your hair to drag demons down to hell if you're fully clothed. Predictably, the internet is now infested with gamers' screen captures of various ways that they got Bayonetta naked. As if this pornographic, overly sexualized, animated representation isn't bad enough, the way that Bayonetta restores her power is by sucking on a lollipop. But I'm not really...
I think it's like this mindset is that people don't want anything unique. They don't want personality anymore. Like, that's what it says to me. Like, they want everybody to be a blank slate that follows the same trend. And that's kind of boring. Like, whenever you hear about Bayonetta, her attacks, her moves, the way she behaves, everything she does, she's a personality in itself that is very unique. And it's a shame to like belittle like how good of a character it is by thinking about all of this shit.
Here to discuss the overly sexualized adolescent male fantasy that Bayonetta is.
Male fantasy.
So circling back to that comment about Bayonetta being gay that was made
they all
in the
want women to be
post,
soldiers.
That is something that a lot of people have believed for many years despite evidence suggesting otherwise. And that's reflected by this reply saying, "We do not care. Bayonetta is for the girls and the gays."
Oh, I remember this
where they
tweet.
are ratioed into oblivion by this very simple response that states, "Husband and daughter say otherwise," though, with a card that is official and canon to the franchise featuring Bayonetta in a straight marriage with a child. Now, when this official image was released, it caused an absolute meltdown about a year ago. A lot of people were very upset about this because in their own mind, they had created Headcanon that suggested that Bayonetta was gay and not interested in men whatsoever.
I don't, maybe like my mindset a little bit different, but I still don't, I can't. There are characters you can sit yourself and feel inspiration from, but I never understood why like sexuality and gender in video games matter. And I've had people tell me about it and stuff like that, but I feel like in a fictional world like this, like it can build a story, and it is a part of the story. It's a part of the character, but it doesn't impact me personally if they are straight, gay, a woman or a man, you know? Like it's not like something I'll die on a hill for to just like, you know, like to be. So I've never understood really why these things matter so much for some.
However, that was simply headcanon. When this official lore came out,
Not my
people went
headcanon.
ballistic.
No.
Now, headcanon is always
She's
fine.
not
If you want to
gay.
imagine Bayonetta with, well, any character or any relationship, that's totally fine. But when it's your headcanon, it's fine. When you start using that headcanon to basically supersede the actual lore and you claim that the creators are wrong, that's when you've gone too far. And that's what people were trying to do with the Bayonetta character while ignoring official artwork like this. Now, moving on, we have another observation from this user making observations about the outrage surrounding Eve from Stellar Blade and her design, where they say, just a month ago, I saw people gazing and mouth-watering over a nude mod of Leon in Resident Evil 4 Remake, and it seemed normal. But when people get fan service of female characters, suddenly it's a problem.
Yeah, it's because, you know, like men, we can talk about that men needs to be Mr. Olympia. We can make nude mods of men and nobody gives a shit, and they're all like, yes, queen. Oh my god, this is so hot. But whenever this fucking shit happens, like whenever we're just putting like a hot woman in the game, a real hot woman, like then everybody goes crazy.
Now, if you're not familiar with that whole Leon mod thing, I can't even show it in this video because it's just that ridiculous.
It's a good mod.
He's wearing a very, very skimpy
He has that
leotard
big
type outfit where basically you could see the base of his junk. It was that low cut,
Yeah.
okay? And the tweet sharing that had over 100,000 likes. It was very, very well supported, and nobody was being called a porn addict or a
People have
pest
sexualized
or
Leon
whatever,
for
or a
ages,
creep
though.
for liking that.
Everybody
Which, of
loved
course,
Leon.
Everyone knows is ironic, because if you like characters like Eve from Stellar Blade that are significantly less sexualized than this Leon mod, you're called all those negative things. And you can see this is reflected in game journalism, where you can get tons of articles showing players how to basically sexualize all these male characters and have, you know, intercourse with bears in Baldur's Gate 3. But then you see Kotaku release endless articles complaining about the sexualization of female characters. And we saw this recently with IGN as well. Only a few months ago, posting an article telling you how to get a good look at Venom's cake. And then recently, IGN France releasing an...
Oh my god, I didn't even see this. I mean, to be fair though, that is a really good ass. Like, this is, do you know when I talked about Mr. Olympia? Like, every man should have an ass like that.
article demonizing the sexualization
Jesus.
of Eve from Stellar Blade.
An
and claiming that its
article about
developers
looking at
have never
Venom's
seen a
cheeks?
woman,
That's
which was
interesting.
ironic because the
Maybe these
person
game
who
journalists
made
ain't that bad.
this, character is in fact
Remember how thirsty
married
Twitter
to
was
a
for
woman who's on the art
Clive
team,
from
but
Final Fantasy
nonetheless,
16? Oh yeah.
we continue on with an outrageous claim from this user responding to the previous observation here, saying the sexualization of women in broad strokes leads to assaults and killings.
Oh my
whereas
God.
the sexualization of men is kind of cringe. I hope this helps.
What?
This is one of the worst tweets I've ever seen.
That's
in
right,
my
guys.
life.
Stellar Blade has started a massive wave of men going around in the street killing and murdering women. Can you believe that? That's crazy. That one video game did it.
It's
Oh my
almost like
God.
it doesn't even deserve a response. Like, you shouldn't even dignify it with a response. But
they're
we're here to
clearly
laugh at
insane.
it because this is one of the most insane, irrational tweets you will ever see.
I like that. I like that there are more bookmarks and more retweets or quote tweets and comments than likes. I like the people that have bookmarked this. I bet they are just bookmarked this tweet just to come back and see the replies. They're like, yeah, I know, I'm going to enjoy this later tonight. This is going to be fun.
Insane, irrational tweets you will ever see. Where, of course, users would point out some very obvious observations as well as some jokes. So here's some of them saying, This is true, actually. As a woman, I've been killed because I saw 2B's panties once.
Oh my god.
Literally false and proven to be false in every single
tweeted
study
it
done.
from heaven.
You're just lonely and
Respect.
making bad tweets to get the attention your parents didn't give you. Pathetic. What? How? Cite your sources, please. Yeah, I stalked the streets all weekend doing murders after I played Stellar Blade's demo. I wish I had known about this beforehand, as it's a bit late for it to help me now. False. In fact, all studies point to the
so
absolute
stupid.
complete opposite, that consumers of hypersexualized content
Then they lock their
are far
account.
less-
Yeah,
less-
right. Then they lock their account or delete their account. They should all delete their account. But like, yeah, it's always that they provide these crazy shit to get like some form of attention because they are attention starved as hell. And then whenever they get this attention, they lock their account because the attention they were seeking was meant to be in their favor, but it ended up being the opposite.
Likely to assault women. I'd assume the same is true
My
with
source is
dudes.
that I made
So
it the
true,
fuck
sister.
up, yeah.
Which is why Egypt and the Middle East are known for their safety, whereas Japan, where fiction is barely regulated at all, women are terrified to go outside without a male guardian.
Oh
some
my
very
God.
good points made in the replies that are, of course, brutalizing the original
That
post.
is actually so good. That is such a good point. I think people should think about this more. That is such a fucking good point. Wow. Huh.
Poster. But moving on, here's some other ridiculous claims. This user saying, weird gamers, you can't make sexy women in games anymore. I'm sorry, but did all of you losers miss how feral everyone was going over Lady D? We love sexy characters. We just don't like your unsexy version of sexy. Of course, again, calling characters like Eve, which of course they're referring to as not attractive, which is an insane cope. But the reason people went feral over Lady D is because this is what we call safe horny. This is a character that was considered safe horny, someone that you could make all kinds of comments about without getting any backlash. There are many examples of safe horny characters out there, and this is definitely one of them. And as this user points out in the quotes, it says, "Don't you get it, chuds? My fetish is more socially acceptable than yours." Which, of course, if you're talking about Lady Dimitrescu here, she's literally like a 9-foot tall vampire. She's a giant,
She's an Amazonian
rotting
woman.
corpse.
Ooh.
And you're saying liking her is somehow more socially acceptable than liking a character like Eve from Stellar Blade. Like, please, come on. Can we stop with that? You know, I can respect whatever you want to like in fictional content, but that doesn't give you the right to judge others. Like, I will respect your desire to want to go feral over Lady D here, but you should also respect people who like characters like Eve from Stellar Blade. I mean, that seems very obvious, but overall, this Gamergate situation is the gift that keeps on giving. It is some of the wildest takes that are being generated out of this situation, and it makes for some great content, so I guess we're thankful in that regard. But for today, that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to
It
share
was a
your
great video. It's a shame that this is still a topic. And the worst part about this all is that this is probably not going to end. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm really sorry for every, like, all the, like, the girls and women out there that has to, that jumps into the space and thinking that they can just have fun, just disconnect, just not think about the world and play some good games, because in reality, there will always be a separation between genders in this space. Like, everybody will always focus on this because they can never leave it alone. There are too many attention-starved people out there that want to make an outbreak about nonsense. So I just don't think that this will ever end, and it's a shame. I think the only way people really will, like, this is an insane way of looking at it. The only way people will actually stop doing this shit is whenever, like, you can get people banned for talking so much shit like this. And censoring in my opinion, is not the like the best thing. I hate censorship. I think everybody should like be allowed to like discuss things and talk shit. But I think that censorship is the only way to like stop this. So obviously that is probably not going to happen, and is a bad thing. But at the end of the day, this is not really a positive thing to allow just roaming free either. So we will see. Overall, good ass video. I hope this is the last time we hear about Stellar Blade and all of this Gamergate too. But I bet that it's not gonna be the last time. We're probably gonna hear it a lot many more times because this shit people ain't shutting up about this at all. I can't wait for the Stellar Blade release. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good ass time.